it took me a very long time to open up about this story because it is something that personally happened to me and that I still find a little bit scary. And it still is kind of with me every day in the decisions I now have to make. And I now have to be extra cautious in a sense. But if this can help women, men, whoever, to just kind of think of stories like this whenever you're running errands or out and about, then it's worth telling. Alright guys, so the time frame that I'm telling you this story happened, I want to say circa 2014, because I got married at 21, so it was like 2014, 2015, because I was actually married when I was, when this story took place. So me and my ex-husband used to actually, once we got married, we ended up staying with my parents to be able to save money to afford a place. We were really young, we were really broke, so we stayed with my parents for a while. I want to say like a year or so, until we got our own place and eventually moved out. But this is before we moved out. So me and my husband were asleep one night, and I randomly just woke up. It was probably around 3 a.m. ish. And I was starving. I remember going to the kitchen and just looking through everything, and I was not impressed. And I had a craving for the simplest thing, which was IHOP. So I had actually woke my husband up. Like, you know how you don't fully wake someone up, but you kind of like briefly jab them or touch them. And I was like, hey, baby, like I want IHOP. Like, I'm going to go to IHOP really quickly and grab something to go, and I'll be right back. And he was like, okay. He was like, okay. Like, he was listening to me, but not really, because he was still kind of asleep. So at this time, I felt that, you know, my surroundings, my neighborhood, this side of town of Houston that I live on was very safe. So I didn't feel the need to, you know, kind of worry about going out at 3 a.m. in the night, which now in hindsight, you know, was a little dumb. So got in my car, went to IHOP, grabbed my food. I already like placed it to go online. I do remember, however, when I was at IHOP, there was this guy that was like in the parking lot, and he was a little weird. He was like on the bench. And I got kind of like, it's like a bench outside of the IHOP that like, whenever you go in, I guess people can wait there. And I remember getting like a little bit of a weird feeling from him. And I just was like making sure that I kind of kept my eye on him. But it was not even him that really impacted this story. But I'm saying this to tell you, like, when you have weird vibes about something, you know, make sure that you pay more attention to your surroundings. Because basically, once I got my food and I left, and I was sure that that guy was still at that IHOP, you know, because I didn't see him get in a car or leave behind me or anything along those lines, you know, my guard was kind of put down. And so this is what I'm telling you, that whenever you're out, and if it's late at night, just make sure that you're being very aware of your surroundings, and that your guard is, you know, a little up, to say the least, more than it would be during the daytime. Not that bad things don't happen during the day, but more people are susceptible at night. Like, we know this. So I was driving back to my neighborhood. So like many neighborhoods, you know, my neighborhood has a corner store like right at the entrance of the neighborhood. And so I do remember, this is what probably makes this story so scary to me, is the fact that I was just so unaware of what was going on and what could have possibly happened to me. So I do remember, like, I had made like a turn into the neighborhood, and I do remember seeing like a black car parked on the side of the building for the corner store. But it looked like nobody was in it. It was like pitch black. So I, you know, didn't really pay any mind. I thought it may be like one of the employees' cars or something along those lines. And I just kept driving home. So from the span to probably like the corner store to my house is probably, I want to say 2 or 3 minutes. Like it's pretty close. And so I was driving, happy as hell, because I got my pancakes or whatever I had ordered. And I finally got to my house. So little bit of a backstory here. So once again, staying with my parents, my dad is actually a truck driver. So my dad has really weird hours that he's awake and really weird hours where he's asleep. So he will frequently wake up like in the middle of the night. And so it's very common for him to be awake during like little weird hours that most people are still usually knocked out. And he will like sometimes go to his car, like his truck or whatever, and he'll sit in the car and play games. Like as you were, like a lot of us, including me, thinks of like their car is kind of like their little temple, and sometimes it's just a nice break from being inside all the time. So sometimes he goes outside and he plays games. And so I pulled into the driveway of my house and I was getting out the car, and I walked up to the door and I unlocked the door and I went inside. Felt like nothing was weird. I was home now. Everything was fine. I went back in my room and I ate my food and I was happy until my dad came in the house. This was, I want to say, probably like 10 minutes later. And he came into my room and he woke up, like he cut the light on. He woke up like me and my husband because my husband was asleep, like on the bed or whatever. And he was saying how he was angry, like he was visibly angry. And I could not understand why until he kind of explained it to me. So my dad was, first off, I didn't even notice my dad was sitting in the truck. And this because, guys, well, at that time, I am just not one of those people who pay much attention to their surroundings. And I really hate to say that, but this has really changed since this event. Since this event, it has really, really changed. Because what could have happened to me that night, someone or something was protecting me. And I really am lucky. So my dad was visibly angry and I was trying to understand why. My husband was waking up and he's like, what's going on? And my dad tells me he was sitting in the car. He was sitting in his truck, saw me go inside, saw the black car that was on the side of the building, which, I connected later. That was the black car that was, on the side of the gas station. Pull up directly behind me. When I parked, he said that guy was so close behind me that he thought that we came together. I didn't see this man at all. I didn't see the car at all. I saw nothing because I was not paying attention to my surroundings at all. And he said that when I got out of my car and I was grabbing my food and I was walking up to the door, and as many of us do, we fumble with our keys. And I was fumbling with my keys, trying to get into the house, not paying attention at all. He said that the guy started to get out of his car. He started to get out of his car and walk towards me. And when he got into our yard, because he parked a little bit across the street, when he got into our yard, he saw my dad in the truck. And he immediately flew. Like he jumped in his car and burnt out quickly. All of this within the span of me standing at the door fumbling with my keys. And I saw nothing. I didn't see what the guy looked like. I didn't see the car. I didn't see my dad in his car. Because I just wasn't being conscious of what was happening around me. This man, I don't even think I need to say this. It's 3:00 in the morning, I'm going to cry. It's 3:00 in the morning, this man would have meant me no, justice. He was probably more than likely intended to mean me harm. Whether that be, just taking me or hurting me or taking something from me, which I don't even think I need to say what that is. And me not even like taking the time to look around me or, to see what's happening. And my dad kind of explained that when I drove up, that the guy was behind me, but he had his headlights off. So I'm not sure if you're aware of Texas law. This might actually be for all states. I'm not 1% sure, but I know for sure in Texas that you're not supposed to drive without your headlights on. Like he had it completely off. And that made it, in a black car, that makes it a little bit easier for you not to be seen. So that may be one of the reasons why, I wasn't paying attention, but that is still really no excuse. It's no excuse for what he was intending to do either, but as women, and not even just as women, just as people in general, we have to just know that not everyone has our best intentions at heart, and that we need to try to take steps to make sure that we're protected and that we're taken care of. I had, at that time, nothing to really protect myself. I had, not even pepper spray, because I know a lot of women carry pepper spray. I didn't even have that, you know. And when my dad was telling me and my husband this story, my husband was so, at that time, he was so upset. And he was just telling me, he was supposed to be the person that was there protecting me. And, for a long time after that, I didn't feel comfortable going out at night. Even now, I'm very cautious about where I go at night. I try to avoid having to drive or do anything or run any type of errands when it is dark, because unfortunately that is when majority of these events happen. And I just want to make sure that I'm protected moving forward. I will say that that event did teach me a very big lesson, because now I am overly aware of my environment. A car is behind me for like 2 minutes, and I will turn down back streets and turn down roads and try to make sure that this person is not following me. Because as a woman, I do go a lot of places by myself. Like, especially now that I'm divorced, that is a whole nother story in itself that I am not going into today. So I go a lot of places alone, and even during broad daylight, I just need to make sure that I am being 100%, as safe as possible, and this is not the first time that something like that had happened to me. Unfortunately, I was actually followed home before, and that was more along the lines of someone trying to hijack my car, and I think I would have hoped that I would have learned from that event. But I guess because my immediate life was not in danger that time with the carjacking, they actually didn't succeed. They didn't take my car, but it was attempted. But still, guys, like, I'm making this video because I want you to be safe. I want you to be overly safe. And once again, this has kind of came back to light because me and my dad were kind of talking about it the other day. And I have been thinking about making this video for a while, because I want you guys to just be aware of your surroundings. I want you all to, have something. Now I have, mace in my car, and I have other things in my car that can protect me or help me if I'm ever in a situation that, if it comes down to that. But I don't want it to come down to that for any of you. If you feel you're being followed or watched or anything along those lines, please go to your local police station. Crazy thing is, my police station is directly across from that gas station that I was telling you about. But I was blissfully unaware of what was happening to me at that point. So, guys, just please be careful. It is 2020. I know that we wish that we weren't in situations like this and that the world would just evolve, but you never know people's intentions for you. So just please try to make sure that you protect yourself. That is all I can ask. So, I know this video was a little heavier than normal, and I hate to leave videos on a heavy note. I am not trying to scare anyone. I just want you to be cautious. So I'm going to brighten this up for you a little bit now. So if you haven't entered my giveaway, we still have 1 week, a little bit over 1 week left. My makeup giveaway is going to be a makeup mystery box. I am telling you guys, there's some awesome goodies in there. It is still plenty of time to enter. Make sure that you go to my last video. Just write a comment about what you are grateful for during this quarantine, and make sure that you subscribe. But other than that, I will see you next time, guys. I love you. Be safe.